Beneath Dover Castle, deep in the tunnels, burrowed into the chalk, lies the nerve centre which coordinated the rescue of 300,000 Allied troops from Dunkirk. Those tunnels now house a new exhibition. Our culture editor Matthew Cain has been right inside.
A bastion of defence, a beacon of defiance. Dover Castle has guarded the south coast of England for 9 centuries. But it was a retreat, not an invasion, that was the focal point of activity in 1940. In the tunnels underneath the castle, Operation Dynamo was coordinated. The evacuation of British troops from Dunkirk following a crushing defeat by the Nazis in the Battle of France. Richard Sheen has returned to the tunnels where he worked as a signalman for the opening of a new museum.
I think I did realise at the time, you know, I was seeing something that was quite an epic. You know, we were so busy really when we were on operations because we were working on 8-hour shifts.
Over a period of 10 days, more than 330,000 British and French troops were rescued by a hastily assembled fleet of 850 boats, many of them private yachts and pleasure cruisers. The whole operation was masterminded by Vice Admiral Bertram Ramsay.
The great success was rescuing enough troops that the British Army was able to reconstitute itself, and to a certain extent the French Army too, and to prevent an invasion by the Germans.
Like many modern museums, this one uses film and audio exhibits to create what aims to be an immersive experience through Operation Dynamo. But what's perhaps equally fascinating is the way in which Winston Churchill used the success of Operation Dynamo to transform what had been one of our greatest military defeats into a story of heroism to boost wartime morale, in the process creating the legend of the Dunkirk spirit.
The reaction that the troops got when they returned to England from the people was actually spontaneous. They were expecting to be welcomed back in a very subdued manner because they were beaten. But in actual fact, they got a raucous reception, and it's that Churchill and the government rode in terms of propaganda.
Since then, the Dunkirk spirit may have become tabloid shorthand for a general sense of solidarity in adversity. But does it still exist in 2011?
If there's a major disaster, people will come together, but whether at other times, I'm not 100% sure these days.
In America, we saw it with 9/11. We saw, you know, a lot more people flying their flags.
It's probably always there, but it only really comes to light when there's a common enemy to face it up against, I suppose.
If there is still a latent Dunkirk spirit, this might explain why the story of what happened to our troops in 1940 still resonates today, and why, more than 70 years later, a museum is opening to commemorate what Winston Churchill called that miracle of deliverance. Matthew Cain, Channel 4 News at Dover Castle.
Channel 4 News continues online, channel4.com/news. We're back tomorrow at 7. Until then, from Bridget and from me, that's Channel 4 News. Good evening.